Thank you, Mr. President. There are some decisions that school boards make that are a little weightier than others. And this school board has had a few weighty decisions this past couple of years, decisions like hiring a new superintendent, whether or not to put a levy before the voters. For me, while this decision is weighty, it is not particularly difficult. The weightiness comes from knowing that we are asking our community, which is in many ways struggling, to dig a little deeper and to trust a little more. We're not an affluent community, and for many, whatever we ask is a sacrifice. Whichever way this goes, there are consequences. That's what makes it weighty. And the stakes are high. The future of individuals and the larger community are affected. As for why the decision is easy for me, I'd like to quote Children's Defense Fund founder Marian Wright Edelman, who talks about the need to invest in human capital. Edelman said, quote, "Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your world and your community better than you found it." It's also an easy decision for me when I align the facts and look through the lens that shows me that when we're talking about money, we're talking about the capacity to create educational opportunities for our students and hope for their families. I serve on this board because I believe that creating educational opportunities for our students and hope for their families is an important thing to do, and that both are worth fighting for. The facts are that quality education is not cheap. It's also true that the Canton City School District is educating some of the most expensive students in the state to educate due to their needs and because justice demands it. I also know that we are entering a period where state support and federal support of the school district will be at least flat and maybe actually shrink. That leaves us with no option other than to raise more money locally. That's how the state constitution does education funding, and it's the water in which we swim. It's a fact that most public school districts in Ohio will be severely negatively impacted by the expansion of Ohio Ed Choice vouchers, which suck resources out of public education in favor of education for the privileged. It's a fact that the vital wraparound services our students and families depend on, which is in the current state budget, is temporary. It's a fact that the Canton City School District lost about $700,000 in federal Title I funds this year alone due to federal cuts. Title I funds are vital for school districts to do poverty remediation, and if we want to continue serving our community and its needs, those funds have to come from somewhere. It is also a fact that the funding model currently under consideration in the state legislature, known as Patterson, is not favorable to high-need, high-poverty school districts like ours. That's why I've testified against it twice and continue to work to make sure it does not become law in its current form. It is also a fact that Ohio structures its school funding scheme, which is still unconstitutional, on the premise that school districts will levy more millage periodically. It is a fact that we have not done it since 2011. I'm currently the only member of this board who served then and who voted for that levy to go before the voters. That was a weighty decision too, but also an easy one. And the proceeds from that levy have kept the Canton City School District solvent and creating opportunities for our students. That's worth celebrating. There's an opportunity cost for failing to put this levy on the ballot, and that comes from surrender. If we don't do this, we will send a signal that we're not in it for the long haul, that we have given up on the fight for what this community needs, and that we have stopped believing that we can form a more perfect school district. It's easy for me to support this resolution because I still believe in the future, one of the students that we serve and their families. I still believe in our community and the contributions made by this school district that grow our region's future and economy. And I still believe that we're here to succeed, not wring our hands. And though this is weighty, we should send this levy to the ballot without apology for believing in what our community is doing and what we're about. So, Mr. President, my vote for this will be yes.
Thank you, Mr. Resnick. Any other board members? I would just like to say that 2011 we passed our last levy. The average life expectancy is 5 years. So now we're rolling out year 9. So I'd like to think that we are the keepers of the key, we are the keepers of the funds. And I also believe that it's imperative that the folks in Washington and Columbus, we reach across that aisle, we continue to reach across that aisle, hoping one day that that our spirit of good faith for the kids comes into place somewhere. We need to get our house in order. As I said at the last meeting, our fiscal health is no different than the health of our fiscal health of our families. We need to live within our means, and Dr. Graham talks about listening and learning. We are getting there. As our employees can attest that there's a lot of listening, there's a lot of getting better going on right now. And I think when it comes to finances, we hear, we listen, we see, and I just think we need to keep reaching across the aisle no matter what side it is. We're dealt the hand that we have with politics, but I'd rather end up on the side of good than the side of just malcontent discourse. So it's so important that what we say matters, every word we say matters. And the kids of our community are counting on us. So I appreciate everybody's effort in this. A lot of time has gone into this, a lot of thought, a lot of meetings, a lot of listening. So thank you.